The story that is making headlines on this Wednesday, once again, not as much about basketball with the WNBA. So, with my nod to, thankfully, the Lakers have actually wiped the fever off the top line. But the Lakers selling again in the span of 9 months. Well, that breaking news on Wednesday is at least usurping some of the headlines around the fever and around Stephanie White, who before the fever ever tipped off at home against the New York Liberty on Tuesday night, she sat down with a prepared statement that she mostly stuck to in the pregame. She marched into the press room. She delivered her statement with passion, definitely some emotion, some anger in there, and then she marched out. So we're going to let you see and hear what Stephanie White had to say, but I'll set it up this way. Going back to Saturday, when Dejanay Carrington, who's actually a former player of Stephanie White's elsewhere in the WNBA, so not with the Fever, but when she coached elsewhere, Stephanie White coaching on Saturday as the Fever are, they're trying to win another game and blah, blah, blah. And Dejanay Carrington has this hard foul against Sophie Cunningham late in the game that was called a flagrant 2. And not only did Carrington get ejected, Sophie and some of her Fever teammates, mostly Sophie, she had to be held back. She was pretty upset. It was a mugging across the face and the neck. It was a hard foul. It was a dangerous foul. It deserved the immediate ejection. And that's what happened. It was assessed a flagrant 2 and Carrington was out. Now, whatever she put on social media, couldn't give a crap, don't care. Social media is a cesspool. You can make your own determinations. But once again, the controversy that stirs up around that basketball moment, because it happened on the court, was not as much about the basketball, but it was more about Stephanie White. As she sat down in her post-game press conference on Saturday, she seemingly, now you can interpret the way you want. I don't think she was defending Carrington. I think that at the time she was trying to maybe squash some of the upset and the what she could see coming, the reaction, the backlash, the criticism. But also knowing Carrington, because she coached her, says she plays with passion, she plays hard. It was a hard foul. People were upset that she didn't seem to defend Sophie and that she didn't seem too concerned about Sophie's health, that she made it more about Carrington and, let's not take it too far. It was a basketball moment. I'm paraphrasing. But hey, what about Sophie, who just got clobbered across the neck and the face? So a lot was said about Stephanie White. In fact, a government official in Indiana even called for her to get fired. Okay, so Stephanie White, she absorbs all of this for a couple of days. And then before they ever tip off last night against the Liberty, she decides, I'm going to defend myself against these baseless internet attacks.
Our players' success, our players' health and wellness, our players' safety is always a top priority for me. One of the things I pride myself on is my relationships with players. For those who have anything to say about the play in the last game, I didn't see the play in real time. I went straight to a press conference. I thought the play got called right. Thankfully, Sophie's okay. Was it egregious? Absolutely. When you have a chance to watch that over and over and over on replay, you can see that. I didn't have that in real time.
Were there any
I take personally any suggestions that I don't 100% always have my players back. I ride with them 10 toes down all the time. All the time. They know that. It's a shame that we can't have an opportunity to talk about what great basketball they're playing. Because they are f***ing playing. The reality is, with me, I will always lead with love. I will always lead with grace. I will always lead with humility. And I will always lead with integrity. Doesn't mean I'll always get it right. I'm also human. The hate, the fear-mongering, the divisiveness, the stuff that's trying to hijack our league will not win. It won't win. We are united. We are connected. We will not be divided. Every day these women put their ass on the line. Every day. When they go low, we go high. Love will win. Grace will win. Humility will win. and kindness will win. I stand by them. I will always stand by them. Everybody else can go to hell.
I appreciate Stephanie White delivering her message, but I had to smile a little bit just because I don't think the go to hell part was on the script. I could be wrong. Maybe she did include the go to hell part at the end, at the bottom of her page. But the fact that she's very passionate about love will win, grace will win, kindness will win. And then she says, go to hell. Sometimes in our anger, in our passion, in our emotion, we hit send on a text that we shouldn't, or we drop the mic with an exclamation point that we shouldn't, or we don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you on our way out. And we want to make sure you remember. So I don't think that go to hell was originally part of her plan. However, it kind of contrasts with the kindness will win. But regardless of that, good for Stephanie White. Although here's my response. Two things. Number one, it's a blessing and a curse, of course. This is the nature of the internet and social media. The WNBA has been craving this kind of attention for 30 years. The league is celebrating its 30th anniversary, as you know, from the poster that was released that did not include Caitlin Clark. Just one disaster, PR mess after another. And so Stephanie White is reacting to what's happening on social media. She started her statement by saying that I'm not directing these comments to those of you who are in the room. She said this is mostly about the internet. Okay, public figures, you cannot win wars on the internet. You might get your comments, your photos, your videos more amplified and magnified because you've got a built-in audience more than, say, the dude that has 8 followers or the majority of the trolls. But you cannot win an argument against the internet. It's a losing battle. So I hope that she doesn't waste her time and breath trying to do it again, because you can only control you. You can't control the reaction. And so it is a positive that the WNBA is in the limelight. Now, I've said multiple times, it sucks that they weren't prepared for it. The leadership of the WNBA was not prepared for this white hot, harsh spotlight. And there have been other sports that have gone through this kind of adversity and whoa, okay, this is way more than we expected. Even Sophie Cunningham has indicated that she can't really go anywhere now because she's recognized all over the place. Imagine what it's like to be Caitlin Clark. And the Fever are in the middle of this. So as much as the basketball on the court has been amazing, the Fever have right now what they call, well, I called it a 3-headed monster. That didn't sound the way I meant it. They have a 3-pronged attack that can crush you from a variety of sides. Kelsey Mitchell's an MVP candidate. She's explosive. She's fast. She's got a streak now of 20-point games and got it in the first half last night against the Liberty. They were up by 20-something at the break, and they had a great performance from Caitlin, who had a double-double, and also Aaliyah Boston. And so right now they're playing great hoops. But unfortunately, the WNBA headlines these days are not so much about the basketball. Maybe at some point that will change, but you can't control it. I mean, the people are drawn to train wrecks, if you will. We're rubberneckers as sports fans and as human beings, right? So we're drawn to the salacious. We're drawn to the sexy. We're drawn to the spicy. We're drawn to the dramatic. Here's that moment with Carrington mugging Sophie Cunningham. She deserved to get kicked out. Cunningham said herself, I did it to another player a couple years ago. I got kicked out. So that's one thing, is that you're swimming upstream and not as powerfully as a salmon. Watch out for the grizzly bear that's parked at the top of the waterfall. You're not going to be able to control the reaction. And so you might want to just stop responding to everything that comes your way. At the same time, Stephanie White, I don't think she was apologizing, but she was pointing out the reason that I didn't have the same passion in defending Sophie Cunningham on Saturday is because I actually didn't see the play live. How many times have you heard a coach post-game, NFL, NBA, asked about a specific moment, and he or she says, I didn't see it. I got to go back and watch the tape. I mean, I dozens of times, countless times. the media will try to pinpoint a coach about a hard foul, about a fumble, about a mistake in a game or a moment in a game that's going to make headlines. And those coaches wisely say, I didn't see it. I got to go back and watch the tape. Well, lesson learned for Stephanie White. And that's what Sophie said after the game. So after the Fever had secured the win, it was pretty funny. We don't have the audio, but I mean, I can paraphrase for you. Caitlin and Sophie are sitting at the post-game dais. They're answering questions. And of course, the questions come back to, hey, did you see what your coach said before the game? And Caitlin deadpans, we've been made aware. She speaks my love language, one of them, which is sarcasm. I speak it fluently. So then Sophie goes on to say, coach didn't see it. She didn't see it. What are you going to do? She didn't see it. And so she was letting her off the hook. I hope that people will understand that in real time, coaches are often doing a zillion things all at once. If she happens to be turned away, or if a player is blocking her from this particular moment on the court, well, then she didn't see it. What are you going to do? But now Steph knows, maybe I got to say that. I got to say I didn't see it. I'm going to reserve any comment until after I can see the photo or the slow-mo or the play-by-play, right? Because in that moment, I was doing something else. Yeah, so tough lesson to learn, but also I think the WNBA, a lot of its players and coaches, they need to stop wasting time battling back on the narratives. I don't always agree that there's no such thing as bad PR, but I think in the case of the WNBA, you just have to understand that you're in a spotlight that you've never experienced before. That's a positive, it's a negative. Try to respond in the positive, right? Try to make headlines about basketball and don't offer some of this other crap any reaction, because the more you respond to the crap that's out there, the more you give it your platform, so to speak. And I tell my students that all the time about social media. When a troll comes at you, remember, you have the platform. If you turn around and respond, well, now you're giving that troll your platform and you're magnifying it and you're amplifying it. If you can ignore it, if you can let it go, generally the troll crawls back underneath his or her rock, right? And works on the next way to try to incite a riot on social media.